So hello and welcome to the frequency weather of the upcoming week. I am Petra Else Jekel, and every Sunday I do a live video in our group Creative Entrepreneurs on Facebook, in which I draw cards of the manifestation cards for entrepreneurs to see what kind of vibrational weather we have at this moment, and you can pick things out of it to enhance your creations that you're doing right now, whether it's business or art or being. And you could also take it as a sort of an inspiration or a focus point of consciousness for the upcoming week to see how you create in that specific creation area. And and then after that I process it a bit further myself, and I make this video for my YouTube channel Creativity TV. So welcome to my video, and you would also be very welcome in our group Creative Entrepreneurs. You find it in the link I will put below, and also you can just go to tinyurl.com/creative entrepreneurs. It's a group of, at this moment, 230 people worldwide that create consciously or are learning about how to create consciously, because that's what it's all about. And this is our creativity cat, Stella. She apparently wants to join. So for this week I had the manifestation cards for entrepreneurs number 6 and 3. It is like big themes. It's the big theme of time and the big theme of speaking. And I'm still in the process of recreating my deck, so that's why they're just pencil drawing at this moment. And the recreation will of course lead to giving it out in full color, etc. by my publisher, Creative Code Media. But as we move on, the day will come, and that's how I create. So we have time and we have speaking, and I was speaking about it as such that we need borders in our daily lives, in our creative businesses, in our artistic projects, in time, because that's the way how we can truly value ourselves and our creative process, and make it known to other people. So it's when you divide your time in pieces so that you are sure that you have time to work on certain aspects of your creation, whether it is sitting still, being still and meditating for 30 minutes every day, for instance, or it's other aspects like taking 1 hour every day to build on it and to, for instance, take your pencil and draw a new card, because I'm creating this deck anew at this point. All of those things are of course related to your creative source that you have within you, and tapping into that flow, which is timeless, is what we do first. So that's why I suggest that you first meditate for 30 minutes and then go on to the building part, for instance. Of course it is the internal flow is eternal. It's just there's no time, it's only the now, and that's where your creative source lies, and that's so true. But how true is it at the same time that we need this time-space reality in which we are so humanly born, and it is our destiny to work with that too, because otherwise we wouldn't be here. So we have to somehow work with the imperfection of time and of physicality, and of working within limits. that's one thing for sure, because we are limited beings. Human beings are limited beings. That's, also when you look at that, I have a unique creative idea with which I am related to my creative source. Then you also see that I am limited to my specific way, my how, in with which I am bound to my creative source. And for me, that is transform and manifest. That's my creative identity. We have two verbs. Sometimes we have one verb as creative identity, your personal unique one. I take two. Some other people also take two. You could have more even. It's just up to you with who you are and how you function. So transform and manifest, and that's my how, in which I am in this moment, this timeless moment, bound to my creative source, and I'm fed by it too. I'm it's a feeding line, and I'm fed by that transform and manifest every now moment again. But then it comes into being in my human being form, and that's where the imperfections lie, and where all the limitations are, and trying to work with that is so crucial. People are sometimes on different parts of that scale. I was for a long time on the part of the scale that on the one hand, I was very much into limits and building structures and building my business and making sure everything was organized in boxes so that something could function, and I was very focused on that. But that wasn't bringing me the internal and external rich experience that I was truly longing for. So something else needed to happen, and I am a strange person, because at the same time I was always very much into this creational space with flow everywhere and no borders and flowing and tapping into this energetic space and having sort of even adventures in that energetic space, and that I couldn't really show or share, but they were absolutely there in all kinds of dimensions and on other planets, and well, name it. So, and how could I bring that richness of all this flowing space and feelings, experiences, multidimensionalness, how could I let myself be fed more by that while doing the creational work in our limitations at the same time? Or how could I, other way around, how could I let my ability to create with business structures, for instance, from team to marketing to building your sales system, etc., all the business aspects, how could I let that, open that for more life and richnesses of the moment, so that that world of flow could go into that, and people would feel that and be attracted to me instead of the structure that I put out, or being attracted to the content that they want to have for themselves, and that could be fired up because I have that soft flowing content myself. And how could that function better? So people could be in different areas of that arena. Some people might be very much in the time construction and building with like a schedule for the day or the week or the month or the year. or they might even feel very limited by that because they have to do certain things in certain times for their boss or their children or their family, and they think they are in the belief system that that is what they should do, and that there is no other way than doing it, following that boxes of time that are laid before them most often by other people, or you perceive that it's from another person like your boss, and you don't perceive it as something that you could change yourself and just choose absolutely by yourself only, which is of course the actual truth. But anyway, you could be in that direction, or you could be very much in the direction of someone else, flowing and flowing out in all directions and having all these inner experiences and working on 5 projects at the same time and being okay with that, and being sort of chaotic maybe on the outside, or not understandable by other people because your flow is so chaotic all over the place, or you cannot really set specific times or concepts in your business for which people pay because that's too structured for you, and you just flow all over the place. So these are different spaces that you can be in, and you can assess yourself where you are. And the big challenge that we're placed for now, especially for upcoming week, is can we make those 2 parts co-create with each other? And I feel that is going to give us the possibilities to speak up for what comes out of that combination, and then create with that speaking up, the sense of speaking up. Because then you will be speaking up from both the ever-flowing creative source and the inner experiences that are quite watery and flowy, and at the same time for being a human that is very limited in time. There are only 24 hours in one day, 7 days in one week, and time doesn't come back when we have spent it. So can we co-create with that knowledge as well? That, I mean, we know that, but can we incorporate it in our whole being and let that co-create with what the flow wants that comes out of us? So yeah, you could be very much going into meditation for 30 minutes and then having the flow and feeling that you want to create on this and that perhaps a bit further the next week, because that's what feels most close to your inner source being and how that flows, so that these moments are, you can feel that. I mean, feeling is in essence, that is the stuff we create from. We create with feeling. So you can feel what is the closest in your daily life or in your work life, what lies the closest to the feeling you had in your meditative moment, and that could be the key that you are going to flow in that first this week, and that's where the flow can go and wants to go. And yeah, when you feel that, you might feel what kind of time set boundaries are productive to put on that, and then speak up for that and perform it. You know, if that means that you have to reschedule some days of your week, or have to bring your children to the nanny, or clear your schedule in another way, then probably you should do that. And that's how you create with the limitations of time. I personally also have a daily schedule and a weekly schedule on paper. I'm an entrepreneur that works with my own self only. I don't have a boss, so that's free and open space. So yes, I have schedules for how I want to divide my time into pieces for every day, every week, for the whole year. And yeah, I mean, I have the tendency to rebel against that lately, and I feel that it's just not productive to do it like that. So being a rebel is not really productive, because it is being placed, my time schedule is being placed in such a way that I can be at my best on every moment, and be at my best for clients, and be at my best for you who is watching, and be at my best for my cat and for other people, because I have placed certain work things that I have to do on certain times that I feel best and that I have rested, and so, and not too much of all those things that I want to do in a one day, but small things of everything in one day, and then sleep in another day, and small things of everything in the next day, etc. So yeah, how to maybe trust that when you do it like that, that it's good, and you are allowed to live by those borders and limitations, and that it's really yeah, almost your duty, or your holy duty towards your creative identity and your mission that you are here for as a human being, that you take that seriously, because that's how you place value on the things that are contributing to the creative source that flows through you. So that's also how you can recognize for yourself, I feel, what are the time space boundaries that that are related to your soul creativity. When you see that your mission can flow better by it, and when not, then adjust it. So yes, so, and that adjustment, that is really the speaking up. So, but are you listening to it yourself? Are you listening to it yourself? I mean, that's what I can say to myself, you know. Do I listen to it myself? Because, well, I have to admit, there in my life currently, there are not many people that I have to discuss with how I spend my time. So that's indeed then very much a question of, do I listen to my own preset time space boundaries that are enhancing my soul creative flow, and that are invented for that, specifically for that, and I speak up to for that to myself by making schedules. But what do? I rebel against it, or can I open myself further and sink into that further, so that I can co-create with my own boundaries as a soulful, flowing human being, and accept that that co-creation is exactly what brings me further into the stream of where life wants to bring me. So that's sort of the message, and I had a little bit of more insight into that by drawing some more cards of the traditional tarot deck, and I put it in a place so that it is congruent with my creative identity healing method, and that's 9 spaces and 1 summary, and then you can shuffle those 9 spaces and the summary, the 10th, in another way, and you see that you can take a healing route. We could work with that kind of methods, by the way, because there are also healing methods based on the creative identity system, and I share that with people, yeah, in the group Creative Entrepreneurs Sharing Their Heart's Mission on Facebook, and also of course in my one-on-one sessions. For instance, every Tuesday I give short one-on-one sessions here in my creative workshop space and my office next door. So I looked in another way at it, and I really saw that it could be an enormous block to your creativity, that you are knowing it better always. Artists are perhaps original, but you can also go too far in it and be so much in your own space of thinking that nothing can be co-created with you anymore, because you're so in your own world in a stubborn way, or in the rebel way, what I just said, that it's just not fertile anymore. And that is just like the mental space, and also the head, where the ideas come in. They come in here a lot of times, isn't it? You have a new idea, and you are divinely created to receive that idea, so don't question that. But it can be a huge block when that takes over everything, and that's all you have. That's what I saw in that other card layout, and that we have, and it makes that you cannot see yourself clearly anymore, because all of your space is taken by your idea and your stubbornness in it and your uniqueness in it, in a not so positive way, and you are becoming a rebel with a great idea, but not being able to let that make contact with the earth and your human being and your imperfection as a human being, and with borders and the ability to ground yourself and to have a body, and to let it sink in, really. So last week I also felt a lot of stress on the head, and now it is, maybe you also had that, I don't know, a lot of stress on the head, new ideas, the brain starting to balance in another way because of the new ideas, but then it has to sink in. And that's really where the healing takes place. So let the brain be in this imbalance. Idea is too big, but create a space in which you can let that be. Have a headache, sleep, and let it sink into your body. And that's just the only way to really create in a way that is really co-creative. So what I see now is that the making that idea sink into my body and then into life, and then talking about it with another person, and then seeing that it doesn't work out, that is something constructive to my creation as a whole. So the idea has to become human and see the limitation, because that's where we learn the fine-tuning and meet the surprises, and the co-creation becomes whole, because we co-create with our creative source in the first place, and then we let it sink in from the head down in the body, and meet other people, meet reality, meet the imperfection of it, meet that it doesn't work, and we meet that it doesn't work with other people, and that they understand very different things and see the situation in a different way. And that's part of creation, and that's where it becomes whole, in the imperfection, because then we get feedback from the actual earth life that it doesn't work, for instance, or what doesn't work, what aspect doesn't work. And that's where you become whole, because accepting that within your whole field of co-creation is what makes us whole. That's the perfection within the imperfection is what we are looking for. And that is the wholeness that will give you another vibration and take you within another frequency. Transform and manifest. My creative identity, transform and manifest. So the meeting of the imperfection, and then what that does to us, is crucial. Maybe that's where the creation takes place. That's where creation truly takes place, and how you receive that back, and how you can adjust accordingly, and in every moment go back to your creative source. That's wisdom. And that's a full breath. It's a full breath in and out. Yes. So yeah, I think also this summer I had a lot of inflow of new ideas, and we recreated this group, I have to say, because it was already existing for some years. We recreated the group Creative Entrepreneurs on Facebook in a new fashion to share the creative identity method and let people work with it, and share their creative questions so that we can support each other on our creative journeys, which is, I think, very cool. Because who doesn't want to be supported or acknowledged within your current creation point in your artistic work, business, or entrepreneurship, or whatever. And we had a huge manifestation ritual that I performed in nature close by, and you could participate online by giving your intentions, and I spoke about that in these videos too, I think, the earlier ones. So it was all a lot of input for myself as well, being the leader of it and the performer of that ritual, etc. So that was a lot of input, and I also had to take some time to let it sink into my body. So that's why we have a time gap, and now I'm back doing the frequency weather. I hope every week again, and yeah. I assessed myself, and I think it's valuable, so we will just continue. I will see you next week. Let me know what you experience by sending me a message in whatever way you wish. Feel welcome in our group, Creative Entrepreneurs on Facebook. And yeah, have a great week. Bye.